Maeve hurried to answer the door. Whoever was out there was getting impatient. Ringing the bell hadn't been good enough. Now they were knocking, too. Little Catherine had to practically run to keep up, but she wasn't about to be left behind by her nursemaid. "Is it a baby?" Catherine asked, easily remembering how her mother would be summoned at all hours to deliveries when she was a midwife, since those calls had stopped only a few short months ago. "I hope not," Maeve replied. "Your mamma doesn't deliver babies anymore, and besides, she's too far away to help even if she did." Maeve pulled open the door and found a middle-aged woman standing on the doorstep. Her hat was obviously the one she saved for best, although her coat had seen better days. Maeve instantly classified her as one of the people who had started coming to the Malloy house looking for a handout as soon as they discovered her employer, Frank Malloy, had become a millionaire. "Is this where the Malloys live?" the woman asked, looking up doubtfully at the imposing facade. Malloy and his new bride had decided to wait until they returned from their honeymoon to hire servants, but Maeve was starting to think that had been a terrible mistake. Nothing like a snooty butler to send people on their way. "Yes, it is, but I'm a friend of Mrs. Malloy. Mrs. Alma Malloy, that is, not the new Mrs. She's not— Oh, I know she's not home now," the woman said, twisting her hands anxiously. "She's with the boy at his school, isn't she? I wouldn't know that if I wasn't really her friend, now would I? But it's not her I was wanting to see, is it? No, it's himself, Mr. Malloy. Francis. I've known him from a boy, I have, and I—" To Maeve's dismay, the woman burst into tears. Maeve glanced up and down the street, checking to see if the woman had brought someone with her. She saw no one else lurking about. Briefly, she debated inviting the woman inside. She and Catherine were there alone, but the woman didn't look dangerous. Besides, how could she shut the door and leave someone sobbing on the stoop? "Come in, please," Maeve said, taking the woman's arm and drawing her inside. "Why is the lady crying?" Catherine asked. The woman stopped dead at the sound of the child's voice and made a visible effort to recover her composure. "And who's this now?" she asked. "This is Mrs. Mrs. Malloy's daughter. The new Mrs. Malloy, that is." "Francis's new bride," she said, nodding. "A sweet little thing she is, too.